What's the haps? I'm John, aka Meroka, and welcome to Spiel. I'm here in Coral Phantom Tier 3 on Elite. Before I begin, apologies if there's any loud noises outside. I've got workmen just across the road from me, and I am... they may be making a lot of noise. They have been around for a while, but they're not being terribly noisy. Today they're like cutting stone and stuff, and it's like crazy loud, so there's a chance my mic might pick that up. I have put loads of like padding and cushions and things in the window just to try and block some noise, but I have no idea how well that's going to work. Apologies if you hear a loud brrrr kind of noise from outside, because there'll be crazy machinery going brrrr. That's more like I'm shivering, but you know what I mean. Loud machines! That's what I mean. So this is a poison stratum, and we're doing totem trouble to begin with, because that's poisonous, right? Which means jellies and zombies for the most part. I have nothing effective to fight the jellies with, but hey-ho. Voltage makes short work of many things. So, let us begin with Spiral Knights news. Yeah! Obviously we had the big content update last week, which I covered, but I did neglect to mention one thing, and I'm quite certain it wasn't on the website when I recorded that video. Later, Skyscythe was like, oh, you missed this, and I was like, I don't actually think that was on the website. I think they were a little slow on that one. That wasn't initially there when I looked at the website and went, ooh, new content. There is in fact a promo on. There is a promo. It's a summary kind of thing. To tell you what, if I bring up the purchasing title, the page thingy, what you call it, Supply Depot, I can probably have a look at that. We have, there we go, is this on here? Summertime, summertime, I see some summertime, come on. There we go, summertime splash! We have sarongs, which are this kind of summery skirt thing, and trunks, which are the kind of shorts that you see on the middle guy there. You can also get a fork, which is a flamberge. You can get this squirt pistol, which is equivalent of the Blitz needle, and the barbecue in the background is equivalent of the Deadly Crystal Bomb. They are literally just reskins. They don't do anything particularly interesting or new beyond looking different. So yeah, like I say, you got a squirt gun, you'd kind of expect to do, I don't know, something... Well, I guess there's no particularly water damage, I don't know, freeze maybe? But no, it's just a Blitz needle. Your prices on those, we have one splash prize box for $4.95, 5 for $19.95, and 14 for $49.95 if you got a bit of spare cash lying around. I once again may refrain from doing this because I quite liked the old formats, and they seem to have changed to this new format, which I don't like. Otherwise I might be interested in boxes. I am no longer interested in boxes. You have failed me 3 rings. So, beyond that, Gunner update soon. I just left that. That's just on my notes page. That will be on my notes page till the end of time. Gunner update soon? It's just there on my page. That's never going to leave. Maybe. Maybe this week. Who knows? Maybe the Gunner update will be tonight. But maybe not. One would like to hope so. But we just had content last week. To have content 2 weeks in a row like that would be crazy. That might not happen. Hey, zombies, come on, out of the totem. There we go. Go on, leap. Leap like you have never leapt before, and then get some shock in your face. Oh, one of them stayed in the zone. It's in the zone, man. Boom. Oh, you were Rose as well. Stop rising. Anyway, what else? There is, of course, Spiral Lights. Do not forget, Spiral Lights will be... what is the date? It is not this weekend, it's in a week and a half. Jesus Christ, that's soon. I hadn't realised quite how much that was creeping up on us. Spiral Lights, the charity live stream raising money for charity water, hosted by Lattice and Sclay of the Arsenal podcast. That will be on twitch.tv/spirallights, and there'll be lots of fun and games, and you can tune in and get involved if you donate money. I've been over many of the details in the last few weeks. A link will be in the description as usual with all the full details if you want to read around and see how you can get involved in things like the Spiral Knights Shopping List Season 3 and 4, which will be taking place over the course of that weekend. And you could be a part of it! And you can find out how if you go to that link that is in the description below. So you should go check that out. So that's Spiral Knights news, same as it always was. Obviously, still got some Crimson Order stuff to look at on this channel. I haven't quite finished that. We've got the new story missions. That will be forthcoming later this week. That will be wrapped up with the last mission I have not yet taken a look at. I have had several people say, oh, you should take a look at Ironclaw Munitions Factory as well, because apparently the ending to that, they've changed the endings to most of the bosses, with the exception of the Snarlax. And, I don't know which of these I want. I'll take the yellow. It's big. Yeah, apparently the Ironclaw Munitions Factory actually is slightly different and worth taking a look at, so I don't know, maybe we could take a look at that. Maybe that'd be a thing. I'll see. So, what else is new in the news this week? Business news, YouTube's news. Not really terribly affecting me. I have covered one of their games before, but beyond that, not much. Nintendo! Nintendo has always been a fun one for YouTubers to talk about, isn't it? If you have in any way heard of anybody who's talked YouTube news in the past, over the last 6 months, year or so, you will likely have heard someone go on about how Nintendo are terrible and evil and nasty and all that. There was something last year where they came out and said, by the way, nobody is allowed to make any money on YouTube out of any Nintendo games. If you're making your living playing Nintendo games on YouTube, you're not allowed anymore. By the way, we're going to start running adverts on all of your videos and taking the money from them, and you're not allowed to get any revenue. And there are many channels out there, fortunately I am not amongst them, who are entirely making a living out of playing Nintendo games. I need to check what this floor was, because I didn't make a note of it. It is Chittering Burrows, and I can never remember which one that is. Burrows is the undead, yes, which means I'm well equipped for this one. Fine, let's go. Wonderful. So, yeah, Nintendo have slightly backpedaled on this one, which, for the folks that do Nintendo stuff, I guess is kind of good. I know some people who are fans of... I don't particularly follow Nintendo stuff myself. I've not followed Nintendo for... I kind of keep broadly abreast of the sort of games that are coming out, but I don't really pay much attention to actually what's in them or what they do or anything. But other people are interested in that, and they keep me abreast of those sort of channels. And... yeah, this would be good news for those guys, I guess, because like I say, some people were making a living out of it, and suddenly to be told that, by the way, this thing that you put years of your life into building up passionately, suddenly you're not allowed to do this as your job anymore. You've got to go out and get a real job if you want to support yourself, and by the way, you've got nothing useful to put on your CV or resume now because you've been making videos on YouTube for the last 2 or 3 years. That's always a fun one, whenever everyone says, what if you have to get a job? And the YouTuber's always like, I don't know. It's really not a good thing you can put on your resume. You can't say, I made videos for YouTube. That's not a transferable skill. I mean, God knows I've tried to make it a transferable skill on mine, but, I don't know. At any rate, Nintendo, like I say, have backpedaled ever so slightly. They now say they are launching an affiliate program. This affiliate program now means that if you do YouTube content, Nintendo will let you monetize it, but they'll run the ads on your channel, and you get to share the money with not only YouTube but also Nintendo. And one would wager that Nintendo's share comes out of yours, because Google just straight up take a 45% cuts of all the ads anyway, and that's absolutely non-negotiable across everything. Google always takes 45%, that's the rate. So, Nintendo's share is obviously going to have to come out of your 55%, let's be honest. So, yeah, you can make money out of Nintendo videos now. Presumably, you have to be big enough for them to warrant actually paying any attention to you and getting into their partnership program, which means you can't sort of build up and work to it, you already have to be doing it, I guess. Or put many, many more years work into getting started if you're just getting started doing that kind of thing. So yeah, I would imagine you need to be a certain size before Nintendo will actually listen to you, and then you can't make as much money out of doing it as any other channel, so there's still very little incentive to do Nintendo games. Sorry if you're a Nintendo fan, there's going to be less YouTube content for you. That's because they're a terrible and terrible backwards company, and they make some terrible backwards decisions. Rather unprogressive as far as the industry goes. So that's kind of a thing. I'm rather glad I don't do Nintendo stuff, but it kind of is a little concerning. Maybe still not so much for me, but for many other people, insofar as that it does set a slightly concerning precedent, because if Nintendo have just decided, well, actually, you know what, we can have a slice of this pie and get away with it, what other publishers are likely to do that? Is EA going to suddenly say, well, actually, you know what, if you're going to play an EA game, we want some of that money? Is Activision going to say, well, actually, if you want to play an Activision game, we want some of that money? What about, I don't know, Capcom? Pick a publisher, pick one, Ubisoft. Pick a name, any. Are any of them going to start going, well, you know what, we can reach into their pockets, you know, and have a cut of that money? Why shouldn't we have a cut of that money? Which is, it's an alarming precedent, quite frankly. So, not terribly happy about that being a thing, but from my perspective, where I'm mostly doing indie stuff, it probably shouldn't affect me. It's the sort of people who want me to be able to cover their games because it translates into sales for them. Or at least they hope so, anyway. It depends what kind of review I give them, I suspect, but yeah. So, Spiral Knights, I mean, I did contact Three Rings and say, what's your monetization policy? And they were like, look, just put developed by Three Rings and published by Sega at the bottom and you're okay. That's literally their policy. I have that in writing from Coriolis, I think it was. So that's, I'm okay with this. I'm so always slightly concerned about the fact that it is Sega. It's like, it's not a little indie company. I like to think of Three Rings as being a little indie company, especially when you consider how few people actually put this game together in the first instance. But it's still published by Sega. It's not as little an indie as I might like to believe it to be. If Sega suddenly turn around and say, all the games that we publish, by the way, we want the money now. I was like, oh, well, you just, not that this is my livelihood, but, you know, one day it might yet be. Suddenly that scuppers my chances, huh? Okay, well, how's this one? That's kind of an odd one. It just stops it. It's doing a weird sort of pattern, and then it stops the pattern altogether. Instead of, I sort of expected that to reverse the pattern, not just stop the pattern. That's kind of weird. Huh. So yeah, Sega has long been a concern of mine, but nothing untoward has happened to date. And if that fails, I can always fall back on indie games. Hey, that's always going to be a thing. Indie will always be happy to have me. So industry news. That's industry for the week, I suppose. It's not a thing I normally talk about, but it seemed important and vaguely relevant, and it's something I wanted to talk about, so I talked about it. Let us do questions! Questions are a thing I do around here. Questions are totally a thing, and I've got a pile of them from Sky Scythe still lying there. I feel like he's slightly ruined things because now nobody else has given me any questions for like 2 weeks now, just because I guess everyone's like, oh, he's got questions. I was like, no, more is always good. Please do send more. I don't want this to be a one-man show. I mean, the show itself is a one-man show, but I don't want the questions to be a one-man show. I don't know what I thought I was doing there. I sort of staggered back and forth a bit in the path of the lumber for some considerable time, and then got myself hit. And I should probably take a pill to remedy that. And let's clear that out so we've got some space to work. Right, let's do this properly. Lumbers, I nearly did that again. Lumbers, you are... There we go. Good. Ah, puppies. Hello, puppies. So questions. I had questions, right? The first one... Oh, Christ. The first one I've got written down is a really long one, and there's a bunch of things attacking me. So, this is going to be difficult. Let's... hang on. Let's do the second question first. I'm going to go do this backwards, because I can read the other one. If you could completely customize the white space around videos, what would you make it look like? Probably some sort of channel branding. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about whenever anyone clicks on one of my videos, it would show some custom thing that I put up, right? Or do you just mean sort of personalized YouTube, as in everybody gets their own thing, kind of like they've recently changed Twitter, in fact, so that you can do a custom background, but only you get to see that. It's just for your own personal purposes now. The new Twitter system, they've changed it so that you've got your profile picture and you've got a header, but then you've got a custom bit that is just your bit that you get to see. It's your thing. It's like having a desktop background. In fact, it's not for anyone else. It's just for you. If it was just that, I don't know. probably something like my desktop background, quite possibly, which at the moment is just some pretty cool anime style artwork I found at one point. I was like, hey, this is really cool, and it's about the size of my desktop, so I will crop it so that it's exactly the right size as my desktop and make it my desktop. That would probably be my thing. But if you're talking about actual, can I customize it so that other people see something specific when they watch one of my videos? Well, it would be channel branding, presumably. Would have a link to buttonmash.net and have my character, and it would all be teal and junk. You know what it looks like. You know what my channel branding's like by now. That would be that. I shouldn't have started this room. I should have read the other question. Well, this is going to be tricky now. Oh. How did you even start that so soon? That's... He was only on half health. He doesn't start bubbling until he's like critical normally. He's like early bubble. Anyway, let's see. Have you ever been severely disappointed by something somebody has made, such as movies, books, fictions, etc.? Nobody wants to hear about some kid's macaroni heart that he ate half of and ingested more glue than he has actual food items. Wow, this got oddly specific. I hope you don't read this one out, is the entirety of the question. Yeah, I read the entire thing out. And I did it while dodging things that want to eat my face. I should have got this one first, shouldn't I? There we go, last switch. It's always the last place you look. Screw you guys, I'm not fighting them. Never fight those guys. They're terrible and evil. Give me a treasure room. Treasure room good. Things I have been disappointed by. By a large margin, I would say The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie. I will forever and a day cite that as being absolutely dreadful. It's really, really... A lot of people like it. I don't deny that it was successful. I don't deny that a lot of people like it. The people who like it generally hadn't read or watched... Hello, Treasure Vault. Yes. Hadn't read or watched any versions of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy prior to that. If you had heard the radio play, or read the book, or watched the TV series, the movie is pretty bad. It just doesn't particularly stay true to the original work in many respects at all. It's just bad. As a piece of work in its own right, I can see that people watch it, people enjoy it, great, that's a thing. But for people who were expecting a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy work, it's just not right, to be honest. So that I was quite disappointed about, because I'm obviously a big Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan, and it's kind of let me down a bit. And Marvin being the whole shiny, gleamy, wonderful thing when... Seriously, if you want to know what Marvin's supposed to look like, watch the original TV series. The original, it's pretty dated at this point, but I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was always... I mean, the radio series was done with whatever sound effects they could scrape together. I mean, there's some... I'm pretty sure there was one sound effect they made by, like, putting a pencil in a cassette tape and turning it really fast was, like, one of the things or something. It made the sound effect that they wanted. They made sound effects out of everything, and it was really sort of lashed together, sort of DIY job kind of thing. And the TV series is no different, and it's part of the Hitchhiker's charm, I think. Like I said, the TV series, Marvin looked like he was made out of cardboard boxes, quite frankly. It was a guy in some cardboard boxes, and Marvin's supposed to look like that. He's completely whining about how he's failing and falling apart and clunky and hasn't been repaired in ages. And a robot that looks like a guy in a bunch of cardboard boxes fits that description absolutely perfectly, and it's like, yep, that's Marvin. That is exactly what Marvin's supposed to look like. So when you got this gleaming, shiny, modern, futuristic robot, it's like, that's not Marvin. Don't do that. Deep Thought as well was just, it looked like a 1970s skyscraper, quite frankly. And then again, you've got this fantastic, elegantly carved statue thing for Deep Thought in the movie, and it's like, that doesn't feel right. I really like the real big, clunky, just green tower that was Deep Thought before. But hey-ho. That's yeah, the movie. Go watch the TV series, it's much better. That's all I have to say on that matter. Go watch the TV series. I suppose one thing that everybody's always cites as being very disappointing was Spore. It wasn't quite what it lived up to be. I wasn't quite as terribly disappointed by it as everybody else. I mean, I played it, I reasonably enjoyed it. It wasn't an awful game. It went great. It wasn't all that it promised, it was just kind of a bit naff, to be honest. What else? I'm sure they had something else. Oh, Red Shirt. Yes, Red Shirt. Again, not terribly disappointing. None of them are quite Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie disappointing. Red Shirt, when I played that at Rezzed last year, if you're not familiar, it is an indie game based around science fiction tropes and movies and things. And it was hilarious. The demo I played, it was kind of unpolished because it was a very early demo, but it was absolutely hilarious, and I loved it. And I was like, this is going to be such a good game. It's going to be amazing. I played it. Basically, it's a social simulator on a space station, and you play it through the medium of Spacebook, and you have to negotiate socially through the ranks and work your way up to being the captain's assistant, or just generally getting your way off the space station. You start out as a Red Shirt, the lowest rank on the ship, a chicken soup vending machine repairman, as it were, and eventually you're supposed to try and work your way up to the captain's assistant, or some equally prestigious position, and get off the ship. And you do it through Spacebook. And it's a great concept, and like I said, the demo was hilarious. It's all these great science fiction tropes and jokes and things, and it was brilliant. And then when the game came out, they seem to have stripped most of the humour out of it. It's still good, and I played it through to completion, which was about 8 hours total. Why do I has mail? I has mail. I don't want to bother you. So why are you sending me mail if you don't want to bother me? Okay, what are we doing? Gate map, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a gate map. Ravenous Warrens, that would be a bunnies, yes? I believe. Warrens are bunnies, yes. Chittering burrows are the undeads. So, Beast Slayer, I think, is where we are going with this one. Give me something to kill bunnies with. So, yeah, Red Shirt success. I put about 8 hours into it, and I did finish it, but ultimately I'm like, at the end of it, it's like, that wasn't... it felt like a grind by the end of it. I was like, why am I playing this? I'm playing this because I feel like I need to, and it was just getting a little bit tedious at that point. I was like, I really should just stop playing this, because it was becoming samey. It was the same jokes over and over again. The first hour or two of the game, it's like you're getting all the jokes afresh, and it's like, haha, this is very clever, this is cool, this is all taking the mick out of science fiction tropes and whatnot, so it's entertaining. And after that, it's like, okay, well, now I'm 8 hours in, and I've been getting the same jokes over and over again for the last 6 hours, so it's starting to lose some of the, the luster that's made it so appealing in the first place. So that's a little disappointing. I thought that would be a completely fresh and wonderful experience throughout, and ultimately not. And then when you get to the end, it's like, oh, would you like to play through and get some of the other endings? It's got like 3 or 4 different ways off the ship, so you can play through it again. I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I kind of feel like, I don't know, because I got so hyped up for it beforehand. I thought, yes, this is the thing I will replay, and I was like, at the end, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's not a thing that's going to happen for me. Which is a shame, because it had so much potential, but sad, unfortunate. Right, and let's do another one. Also from Sky Scythe, I believe. Because they all are. You guys need to send me some more questions. Actually, I tell a lie. There was one I've got, and I certainly haven't written it down at the top of my page for things to talk about this week, so I'll do it next week, or we'll see how much time I have left at the end of this floor. But Skyside this week asks, which story arc interests you the most? Owlites, Almerians, Cat Tribes, Devilites, Crimson Order. Do many of them have much of a story arc? Do Devilites have a story arc? Other than corporate wage slaves? It doesn't seem like that's a terribly interesting story arc. Right at this moment, I guess, appropriate for the time, The Crimson Order is obviously of high interest to everybody right now. This is kind of, that's the thing. Crimson Order, yes. Almerians, I feel like, has been reasonably well wrapped up. There's enough in the missions, and obviously concluding with Vanaduke that, hello, that's a chunky one, that you kind of do get a good feel for what went down with Almaya. I'm not sure if that needs any more. The Cat Tribe, I don't know, that almost feels like there's not lore there, it's just kind of tacked on the side for an event. Maybe more could be made of it at a later date, I don't know. Oh, we've got a healer in here, needs stabbing. Get stabbed. Come on. That was good, he didn't even bubble. I'm okay when they don't bubble. There's another one in here though, isn't there? Yes, of course there is. Get stabbed. And get out of there, because that's about to go whammy! I don't know, yeah, like I say, Crimson Order is perhaps the least fleshed out story at the moment, or, well, it might be by the time I finish playing through the last bits, but it at the moment it has the most potential to go somewhere, because obviously that's the one they're working on. So, that is of interest. Other things either are just sort of side notes, and therefore entirely speculative, or have already been dealt with, so... Crimson Order is the actual one that actually is like, this could be a story right now. Like I say, I'm not sure where you're going with Devilites. I know I've never particularly felt like Devilites were a considerably compelling story of any sort. Let's get through here. Let's take that. There's lots of money in here. Do I want the money? Of course I want the money. It's money. But I'm going to get killed getting the money. Let me out. Let me out. Ooh. Excuse me, that came out of nowhere. That is about that, and I have more. Let's dispatch these foes. You, sir, get dispatched. You are dispatched. No, you're not. There you are. You are. Stupid. This because I don't have auto aim. Damn it! I need auto aim on. I can't be bothered toggling between auto aim and not auto aim when I'm using swords and guns. Right. Let's me scroll down to Core Guardian asked, when did your interest in gaming start? That's going back a bit. That, interesting. Is this a scenario room? Must be. Can I break it? Can't break them. Can't break that. No. When did my interest in gaming start? A very long time ago? A better part of 20 years ago? I don't know exactly. I was very, very young. This was in the heady days of the Sega Mega Drive, I guess it would have been, because I did not know gaming was a thing, and it was my dad that encouraged me to purchase a games console, because he was like, oh yes, this is a really fun thing, all the kids are into it, and they're fairly affordable, and why don't you buy one? You split the cost with your brother, and I was like, okay, I'll split the cost with my brother. I'm not sure why, or how, or I'm not sure why my dad knew about it, actually, to begin with, because he's not particularly into technology or gaming or anything. I'm not sure why that was encouraged at the time, so it's kind of odd that I would have gotten into it that way. But yeah, at some point my dad was like, yes, buy this, and encouraged me and my brother to split the cost on a console. At the time it was 80 quid, by the time we got to the shop I guess it had gone down further, and it was like 70 quid. So it was like £35 each for me and my brother, so... You know, for a kid, that's a chunk of cash, but I think we were fortunate that very early on in life, our grandparents had put some money away for us in our bank account, so we had a few, early on we had like a few £100s, so it was like, oh, we can take a little bit out of our savings and have a fun toy, and that would be good. So we ended up with a Mega Drive between us, and that was gaming for us. Sega Mega Drive, or Genesis for the Americans. Mega Drive was the Genesis. That's how I started with my gaming. There's a lot of people like, oh yes, I got into it with the NES, oh I got into it with Atari, and I'm like, oh, I got into it with the Mega Drive. I'm much later than most people, actually. But at the same time, I would have been, I don't know, 6 or 7 at the time, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. Although, what year was the Mega Drive? When I say 6 or 7, I'm like, that would have been, I guess, 93, 94-ish, and, you know, Mega Drive was very well established and out and a thing by then. This wasn't like early on in the console's life cycle, and yet we had it for several years. So I'm not sure. Obviously this is a very long time ago, and it's all kind of hazy, and I'm not actually particularly certain. Now, what is going on with that switch? Where does that go? Clearly opens that, which takes us up here. which is... This is one I complained about last week, isn't it? Except last week it was just blocked off. There's a weird frickin' shortcut for no reason through the level. Why is it there? I will never know. So yes, I began my interest in gaming when I was knee-high to a grasshopper. And boy does my dad regret that, I suspect, because now he's got to put up with me insisting I need to get into the gaming industry, and he's like, no, why can't you just get a nice career in an office somewhere, like the rest of civilization, and just hate your job like the rest of civilization? I'm like, no, I don't want to hate my job like the rest of civilization. I want to be in the games industry where it's all sunshine and rainbows and everybody loves each other. I may have a very idealized view of the games industry. I don't know. Some people might disagree with that one. Either way, I'll say I'd like to say my experience has been generally fairly positive. Actually, to be entirely fair, it hasn't, because my only experience was Team 17, and that was not terribly positive, but hey-ho. Most of the experience I hear from other people is generally, ouch, fairly positive. Everyone else is like, oh, games industry is a really fun place, and everyone's fun and sunshine, and everyone loves each other, and it's wonderful, and magic, and sunshine and rainbows, and unless you're in QA, and then everybody hates you, and you get stepped on by the rest of everybody else in the industry. So, QA, no. Everybody else, yes. Although, again, Team 17, the camaraderie I saw at the QA there, they seemed like a good team. They enjoyed each other's presence, and so, I don't know. That seems okay. But, hey-ho. We are here at the end. We are nearing the terminal. It says, head on down. Do I not get a button to... Oh, there is no... now, at the terminal. I was going like, where's my continue button? There is no continue button. Oh, I can hear the guys drilling outside. I just stopped talking for a fraction of a second, and the music stopped for a fraction of a second. And I'm like, ah, yes. There are machines outside. So, yeah, you can probably hear them. I apologize for those guys. There is little I can do about it, short of purchasing a soundproof room. That is not within my budget. So let's have a quick sneaky peek at Basil and see what Basil is selling me. Is he selling me anything I want? No, sure as heck ain't. So, yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed this content, and subscribe if you're not already. And do leave a question below for me so that I can stop talking only to Sky Scythe about these questions. And thank you very much for watching again. I shall see you next time.